Football fans often believe that goals, assists, and trophies define a season. But sometimes the biggest stories unfold far from the scoreboard, inside medical rooms and recovery plans. And today's discussion revolved around two such crucial developments involving Brazilian footballers who are vital both for their clubs and for Brazil's future ambitions. The first major talking point comes from yesterday's high-profile clash between Newcastle United and Paris Saint-Germain. A match that Newcastle won convincingly by 3-0, yet the result almost felt secondary due to an unsettling moment involving Newcastle's captain and midfield general, Bruno Guimarães. During the match, Bruno suffered an injury that immediately raised concern among fans, teammates, and Brazilian supporters worldwide, because injuries, regardless of severity, always carry emotional weight, especially when they involve a player who is rarely seen sidelined. According to Newcastle's coaching staff, the injury is not considered serious, which brings a sense of relief. But there is visible swelling at the area where Bruno took the impact, and medical evaluation suggests that he could miss 2 to 3 matches as a precaution. This means that while the situation is not critical, it is still something that cannot be ignored, because even short-term absences can disrupt rhythm, leadership, and momentum. Bruno Guimarães has built a reputation as a resilient and durable midfielder, and many fans, including myself, had rarely, if ever, seen him injured before this incident, which made the situation feel even more unusual and unsettling. Injuries, unfortunately, seem to haunt Brazilian players more frequently than we would like, and with important international fixtures approaching in March, even minor setbacks start to feel heavier than they actually are. The psychological impact of injuries is often underestimated because beyond physical pain, they introduce uncertainty, fear, and frustration, especially for players who thrive on consistency and match sharpness. Bruno is not only a key figure for Newcastle United, but also a central pillar for Brazil, and his importance cannot be overstated in either context. At Newcastle, he is not just another starter. He is the captain, the leader, the heartbeat of the midfield, and the player around whom the team's structure often revolves. Despite his early exit, Newcastle showed their strength and organization by securing a comfortable 3-0 victory against PSG, with Joelinton, another Brazilian presence, contributing with an assist and a solid performance alongside Bruno before the injury occurred. Yet even after such a dominant win, discussions across social media, fan forums, and football analysis platforms focused almost entirely on Bruno Guimarães' condition rather than the scoreline itself. That alone speaks volumes about his influence and value. Thankfully, the Newcastle coach reassured supporters that there is no major cause for alarm. An early indication suggests that Bruno could return to action within 7 to 10 days, which would limit the damage to a very short absence. From a broader perspective, this cautious approach makes sense, because rushing a player back from even a minor injury can often lead to more severe complications down the line. Both Newcastle and Brazil will hope that Bruno's recovery continues smoothly and that he returns stronger, sharper, and mentally refreshed, because players of his caliber are irreplaceable in terms of leadership, balance, and tactical intelligence. While concern is natural, there is genuinely no reason to panic regarding Bruno Guimarães at this stage, and all signs point toward a quick and safe return to the pitch. Now, shifting focus to the second major topic of discussion, we turn our attention to Éder Militão, whose injury journey has been far more complex, emotionally draining, and long-term in nature. Militão has been sidelined for an extended period, and football fans are well aware that his injury struggles are not new. He is the kind of player who gives everything on the pitch: maximum intensity, maximum commitment, and uncompromising physicality. And while that mentality elevates his performances to elite levels, it also increases the risk of injuries. Unlike many center backs who play more conservatively and therefore avoid frequent injuries, Militão operates at a different level of aggression and athletic demand, which is precisely why his performances stand out when he is fully fit. There is a strong belief among analysts and fans alike that if Éder Militão were consistently fit, he would be considered the best center back in the world without any serious debate. His speed, positioning, strength, and reading of the game place him in a category of his own. Unfortunately, Injuries have repeatedly interrupted his momentum, forcing him off the pitch at crucial moments and depriving both Real Madrid and Brazil of a defensive cornerstone. What makes Militão's situation particularly concerning is the severity of his past injuries. At his age, he has already suffered 2 ACL injuries, and anyone familiar with football understands just how devastating ACL injuries can be. For many players, even one ACL injury can significantly alter a career, affecting confidence, explosiveness, and long-term durability. Militão, however, has managed to return twice from this nightmare scenario, which speaks volumes about his mental strength, discipline, and determination. At present, he is dealing with a minor but sensitive injury, and Real Madrid's medical and management team have made it clear that they do not want to take any unnecessary risks. The club understands that rushing Militão back into competitive action could result in another setback, which would not only extend his rehabilitation process, but potentially compromise his long-term future. As a result, his recovery plan has been deliberately slowed down, focusing on full rehabilitation rather than quick fixes. Current expectations suggest that Militão is unlikely to feature in January, and his return could realistically come in the first week of February, possibly starting with training sessions before making his way back into matchday squads. From Real Madrid's perspective, this cautious strategy is fully justified because Militão is not just a player. He is a long-term investment, a major asset, and a foundational piece of their defensive project. Interestingly, while Real Madrid certainly need him, one could argue that Brazil need him even more, especially with World Cup-related fixtures approaching in March. This creates a delicate balancing act between club and country, where both sides must align their priorities to protect the player's future. There's a strong possibility that even if Militão becomes available in February, Real Madrid may limit his minutes or delay his full return if other defenders like Rudiger, Carvajal, and additional defensive options are fit and available. In such a scenario, giving Militão extra rest would be a strategic decision rather than a sign of concern. Real Madrid cannot afford to expose such a valuable asset to repeated injury cycles, and Brazil, too, would suffer greatly if he were rushed back and sidelined again. For Militão himself, the ultimate dream is clear: to be fully fit before the World Cup and to represent Brazil at the highest level without physical limitations. From his perspective, immediate match time is not the priority. Long-term fitness and peak condition for the World Cup matter far more. He wants to return when his body is ready, his confidence is restored, and his performance level can match his immense potential. That mindset reflects maturity and awareness, qualities that are essential for longevity at the top level of football. In summary, while injuries always bring anxiety and uncertainty, the situations of Bruno Guimarães and Éder Militão differ significantly in scale and timeline. Bruno's injury appears minor, manageable, and short-term, with expectations of a quick return and minimal long-term impact.